Yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Happy after Thanksgiving.
Happy
Recording
Thanksgiving.
pre-Thanksgiving. So, hey, we're recording a couple weeks pre-Thanksgiving, but we do want to think as if we're post-Thanksgiving. And today's about gratitude. Is that coming off Thanksgiving? The big thanks in there. Gratitude. Grateful for this podcast, for everyone that's pitched in to make this happen, to become a reality. I'm thankful for all the listeners out there that have chimed in and the support we've had from our guests, support we've had people pitching in on quotes and those things to make this a lot of fun and hopefully educate, advocate, and inspire for the veterinary community. So I'm thankful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. And yeah, it's interesting always filming around a holiday because you don't quite know what to say.
Yeah. I thought I left you there for a second. It's funny when actually back in 2013, I went to D.C., talked to Small Business Administration and for the National Grocery Association. And afterwards, got a few of the national TV shows wanted to talk about that conversation. It's funny, like when I'm laughing about it because I looked at you and you're like, yeah. And then just pause. Like the idea is like when you get asked a question, a yes/no question, the worst thing is like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And you see that it's funny, but we're learning about that. When someone asks you a yes/no question, it's like they want you to elaborate on why you just said yes. So made me laugh. I thought we're in that position for just a second. I was like, come on, Kale, you've been doing this for a year. Not just go yes.
Yes.
No, maybe. Hey, episode 21 of the Vetted Podcast is rolling, is taped. So again, today we're going to be talking about gratitude, about mindset, and of course, that's the good things to have to get you into 2025 goals. Reflect on this year so you can have a great 2025. We've been talking about that for the past couple episodes, getting you ready for 2025. So, as always, we like to dive into an article, and why not dive into an article that's titled "When the Government Regulates the Cost of Veterinary Care." Everybody loves to hear about government regulation nowadays, right? But all kidding aside, this is out in Germany, a model they put in place to say you can charge between this range for this procedure, this exam, this what you have going on. They're trying to combat rising prices. And we're not saying this is the way to go. And I think this article is also saying it's probably not the way people are going to go around the world. But as we talk about viewpoints, what are people doing in the veterinary industry to help affordability of pet care? And also, at the end of the day, what matters is the veterinarian and their staff, that they're able to have a living, because you have to make money to be able to enjoy life, to do those things. And so, anyways, interesting look. What highlights did you see out of there, Kale? What questions came out of it?
Well, what questions come out of it? Well, for me, is standardizing those things to even be able to do something like that. Being in a lot of systems and seeing a lot of the way people do things here, I just immediately go to the how. How would you pull that off? Like, what has to happen for us to be able to actually do something like that? Not saying it's right, wrong, or otherwise, but like, what would it actually take to put something like that in place?
Yeah.
And it immediately goes to like, man, that would be insanely difficult to pull off. It may not be that difficult, but it's standardization of charging the same thing. Not charging the same things, but like structuring your prices in a similar way so that you could even compare apples to apples. Because that's a thing that we struggle with our pricing analysis sometimes. Is it's like, what's in that? Yeah, what's in that compared to
like a recipe, right, for something? What ingredients are in there?
Exactly. What ingredients are in that recipe? And so I think it'd be interesting to see like what is in Germany as far as their standardization of like what is in these services that you're allowed to charge X or Y for.
Yeah.
Because over here it just seems like you get in these systems and it's like, kind of however I wanted to structure that is generally how I would bill for it.
Yeah.
The procedure might be the same, but the way I bill for it might be different.
Right.
I charge you one price, I charge you 10 prices. It's the same number at the end, but like what are we doing? So.
It's interesting. We talk about best medicine or best practices. There are those out there, but we even see it here at Pro Partners team, on a team of strategists, right? They will approach the same thing a little differently. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they'll solve something that like really works really well, but how do you get that information back out into the whole system? I think that's one of the biggest problems with standardizations is that how do you communicate that I found a really neat idea, right? How do you do that? And so I think that's one of the biggest challenges. And it's funny, you're talking about that. We're reading through the article. Let's jump to the end of it where it's like, well, it could be better. Like, because what is in this spay? What is in this neuter, that you're charging for? Like you're saying, it's that we see a lot of practices will bundle in, as veterinarians do, what's all in that spay. So the spay's $400 or $800, depending where you're at. And they're like, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, but you're getting medicine, a cone, all these things go along with the blood work, right? They go into it. Whereas for a spay, it's going to be $100 plus all these things that come on top of it. So, yeah, what is in that for standardization? You've got AHA out there that's done standardization of those things. And, of course, the American Veterinary Medical Association, it's out there, but it's funny. Comedian Dennis Leary. Do you know Dennis Leary? Dennis Leary. He had a CD out back in the 90s called "No Cure for Cancer." It was a stand-up. That's how we used to get that. Anyways, he said, "I want to be different, like all the different people." I think that's what you get, right, with independent veterinarians. Like, I want to be independent, just like all the other independents. What is standardized, I would argue, is what you're talking about. On the flip side is what they're already doing. It's almost standardized to be like, here's how I charge. That's standardized. Versus coming together and being like, instead of having the government regulate it as an industry of independent veterinarians, which might be pie in the sky thinking, but yeah, how do you do best medicine so the government doesn't come in and regulate because people are complaining about high prices, maybe some bad outcomes. That's the one good thing about the veterinary industry. I don't think you see bad outcomes for the most part. It's pretty good outcomes. But what you do see is the question of prices. And so, I mean, this is what this came in from. It wasn't about it wasn't an issue of quality of care. It was an issue of prices.
Yeah, and how you charge for it.
Which that's
the other thing.
That's always going to be there. The price is always going to be there.
The other thing that I think would be interesting, though, coming up with a standard like that is like the difference in a generation. So, like, the people that went through school 30 years ago versus people coming out now are learning two things that are slightly different, and getting those two groups to agree that, maybe this procedure isn't best solved that way, even though that person's been solving that procedure that way or that issue for 30 years. Yeah. It would be quite interesting to see that mesh.
So you're saying you want generations to agree with each other?
I mean,
is that what
you're saying? That's what you'd have to do.
I think you might have. We're like trying to, as they say, treat the symptoms, not go for the cure of what's the underlying root of it is, and that's probably Kale, one of the biggest problems, because it's, as we talk to our clients, we got baby boomers, we've got Gen Xers, we've got millennials coming up on Gen Zs, we've got clients across the spectrum of generations. And when one, especially it's usually the oldest generation is complaining and bitching about the younger generation. And I look at the baby boomers and I say, weren't you guys the hippie generation one time, that the greatest generation? Your parents are like, oh God, this generation will never, they're going to ruin our country. So yeah, that's the biggest part, is to say the people that succeed and get this right are the ones that are able to work with the newest generation to realize they actually should have better ideas than you do. They should have a better way to work than you do. So that's part of it too, right? Standardization of care is like the way people want to work today versus how they used to work is night and day.
But I also still just see I see a lot in rural practices, large animal practices especially, it's still agricultural, community based. It's like
Dr. Pohl.
No, not Dr. Pohl. That's not where I'm going. But it's like telling someone to practice this way just is like, I'm not doing that because you told me to. Because you told me.
Yeah, yes, you told me to do it.
I'm not doing that. That's terrible. Yeah. And so it's worked in Germany for 80 years, I guess. But I'd be curious to see how that could get implemented here.
Well, this is going to go right into mindset. I mean, it really is, because part of mindset is not selling yourself, but also you got to sell people. That's a problem too. It's like, why? You didn't tell me why. You just told me to do this. Well, I want to know why, and there's got to be a reason why. So that's going to fall right into it. It's good. Anything more on this? I mean, we can. This is go for long term. Yeah, we don't want to mention and talk. The pricing scale dates back more than 80 years, having been introduced during World War II amid the Nazi regime. And that sounds like a great article, right?
It sounds like a great thing to still have around.
Put that right in the beginning. So, anyways, there's work to be done. You should look at viewpoints, see what other people are doing. You can learn. At the end of the day, this is about learning. We talk about educating on the Vetted podcast. And hey, been watching Neil deGrasse Tyson's YouTube channel in the mornings as I get ready to come on in here, and had a great one on. Oh, it was an 8-month-old one, so it's not new, but had one on today about free will. Do we have free will? And one of the things they looked into was the judicial, how they make decisions on whether it's convictions or parole, and they talked about when's the last time that judge ate. Depending on the distance from that, depends on how harsh the sentencing is or the judgment is. And so what made me think about that is that the fact, when we talk about mindset, to be in the right mindset, number one is probably being nourished right. Mm-hmm. And you think about veterinarians, this pressure they're under, that they might skip a lunch or skip a breakfast because they got to get in, got to get to work. With all the staff, anybody here, right, at Pro Partners, I would encourage everyone, no kidding, to really make sure you're getting the right nutrition, because you get the right nutrition, you're going to have, that's the first step to the mindset, because the brain, as doctors know, the brain is the most energy intense part of your body. And so you think about that, if you're not nourished, the reason you get that hangry thing going on is because the brain starts shutting itself down in certain areas to conserve energy for the body. Mm-hmm. The brain's like, whoa, you got to slow down. Yeah. You got to slow down, so you can't make as good as decisions, and it's been proven. It's been proven. So
that's it's absolutely 100% true. I'm probably the absolute worst at it. I think my diet is probably the weakest aspect of my life. I don't eat breakfast. Yeah. I eat lunch about 25% of the time. I eat supper when it's convenient. Mm-hmm. It's not something that I focus on.
Yeah, well, there's exceptions to the rule.
Well,
so what I want to say though, if I can, exceptions to the rule, right? You're able to function differently than other people.
But if you did, I'm able to function that well.
You could.
I could probably function a hell of a lot better if I focused on it.
Yeah.
And so I don't do it because it's not convenient.
Yeah.
And so that's the way that I operate. That's the way I've grown to operate. It's the wrong way to do it.
Societal pressures, right? It's got to be convenient. You just said it. That's what.
Yeah, if it's not convenient, I'm not going to eat.
Yeah.
Like that on the weekend, I'll go. If I'm on the tractor, if I don't have lunch and no one's bringing it to me, oh well.
Yeah.
Not eating.
Yeah.
Like that's just it's a convenience for me, and and when I do eat, it's probably Casey's. Like it's not great. So if I focused on that, I'd probably. Who knows how well I'd perform?
Yeah, no, and
when I do it like once.
Yeah, in the morning I chop up kale. It says, all right, kale. I chop up kale and just scramble some eggs, and I have a piece of toast. I had some apple butter on it today, and a cup of coffee. And when I do that regularly in the morning, I see a complete difference in the day. Mm-hmm. There's no question about it. When I start missing that. A bit of nutrition, maybe some fruit right in the morning too, to that balance. Literally, the balanced meal. I'm better mood. I'm probably a lot more fun to be around. Mm-hmm. And so if you see me coming in, not good, to be like, maybe I rode my bike this morning. I didn't take time to eat, and so hey, getting the right mindset matters at the end of the day. And so that comes with comes with time, comes with scheduling. It's not going to happen overnight. You can't just change all your meals at once, right? But maybe one at a time. We'll get into that, but. I thought that went right in with mindset. And, if we look at mindset put together as we come off Thanksgiving, is that gratitude. I think it's so important. It started with thinking, everyone in the room here, right? That's like, thanks for all the support. That matters. And that's a compassionate thing to do. And so, what are you thankful for?
Are you asking me what I'm thankful for?
Yeah, what are you thankful for?
There's a million and one things to be thankful for. I'm thankful for everyone here like you. I'm thankful for the effort, especially the DVM office team puts in every day. I've already thought about Christmas gifts for them because it just couldn't be more thrilled with the effort that they all put out all the time. Thankful for all of our clients. Had a great client interaction yesterday. She's like, let's go to Canada and let's tour this vet clinic.
That's awesome.
And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. So just, having cool relationships with people like that is a blessing. The people you get to meet are, probably the biggest thing to be thankful for.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Outside here too, of course, we couldn't do this without, family and people, like Olivia in your life, and of course Lauren and my kids and the other family and friends around that support it. It takes an effort.
It takes a village.
Yeah, and so what I like about thanks is that you got to reflect on what's going on and be appreciative to those things. Otherwise, your mindset starts shifting to me. Look at what I did. And when you start thinking about me, what I did, that's not going to help us with the mindset. So really think of gratitude. And I think about how do you do that in your veterinary practice? I mean, you're busy working. Number one, you maybe didn't have enough time to eat breakfast, right? So do I even have time to thank anybody? But I think it's really important to thank your team. Walk through the door, really understand what's going on, thank them for something. Not to be every day, but what do they do that was different outside the box, and really be intentional as the business owner, talking directly to the business owner, which will create an attitude of gratitude around the whole practice to be able to have that with each other. And so once you start doing that, they're realizing we're working together for each other. That's that rising tide lifts all boats. The other ones you got to do, though, with the clients. And it's real weird. It's like, do you say thank you for your business? Is that the right way to say it? Or do you say thank you for trusting me and my veterinary practice to take care of your animals? What do you think resounds better?
Oh, I'm sure the second one sounds better.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's nothing worse than like, thanks for your money is what the first one sounds like, right? Yeah, thanks for your money. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. But no, it's because it's about relationships. In fact, I had a call with vet partners yesterday, and they asked me, what do I want to get out of?
Explain what vet partners is.
Okay, so yeah, vet partners is it's a group of people in the veterinary industry, from consultants to people in the sales side for pharmaceuticals, equipment, industry reps from AVMA, things like that all get together to say, how can we better further the veterinary industry? And so Dr. Peter Weinstein and Tracy Graywalker recommended I look into it. Kelsey, thank you for getting the appointment scheduled. And so had a good call, and they like, what do you expect to get out of it? And it's not what I expect to get out of it, so hopefully I can give, right, and create relationships. At the end of the day, that's if I want to get anything out of anything, it's relationships, because you never know where those will take you. If you go into that, she said, yeah, I'm glad to hear that, because people are like, if I'm going to give you this, I need $1 million in return. You're going, that's just the wrong way to look at it. Go in there with an attitude of gratitude, and that's the giving, which we're getting into the giving season. So, hey, why don't we throw that in here on top of that? But that's what it gets to. But with clients, how do you do that? Another thing you can do, get to know your clients. You're taking notes. This will make you a better note taker. Ask them some personal questions. Get to know them, their kids, what's going on. Put that in your notes. Next time they're in for their annual exam or whatever that is, you can be like, hey, let's talk about Evan, right? How was Evan? How was hunting? How was duck season, or how was deer season? Whatever that was, right? And so what that does is get them also talking while you can do what you need to do, and you create that bond and relationship. That's what people. At the end of the day, don't worry about rising prices. That can take pricing right. That's something we can do mechanically, take care of itself. What matters is that relationship. When people feel you care about them, right? It's not how much. It's showing people that you care about them, right? Mm-hmm. And once you get that care built and genuine, they'll know. People see right through fake care. But once you get that built, practice will take care of itself.
It absolutely will. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people see you can't do it in a fake way.
No, you can't. You can't. Be intentional, and you got to mean it. You got to mean it.
And you can't overdo it too, especially with your employees or your teammates or whatever it is. You can't say it every day.
No, you can't.
Because then it has no value.
Yeah.
So like it has to be occasional and when it's warranted. Mm-hmm. Because if you're just constantly like, hey, everything's wonderful.
Yeah.
It may not be.
Yeah.
And then you're also training people to do things in a way that maybe isn't the best or something like that too, if you're not being honest about things like that. So Jocko had a good thing on Masterclass about talking about leadership and when you thank people and like when you're, hey man, you really did a good job. Like he had a really good thing like that. He's like 3 times I was told I did a good job in the military for like 20 years, however long he was there.
Yeah.
He's like, not very often, but when I did, I was like, oh my God.
Really meant something.
Right. So,
right. And maybe they could have done it a little more frequently, maybe once a year.
Once a year, maybe.
Yeah.
But the extreme example, but it illustrates the point of like it has to mean something.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. It's not an everyday thing for sure, but it's also what comes back to. We talk about as this ties into mindset is that you have to take care of you though. At the end of the day, your mental health, your physical state, all those things, and. Recently I took a few extra days off. It's like I need a break, from my I've got 2 college kids, kid in high school, sports, cars in and out of the shop recently, and just this everything going on. We hadn't taken a break for a while and felt run down, and you all gave me the grace to be like, hey, I'm out for a few days. Like I need the time off. I would hope everyone to do that too. That's important. As a veterinarian, I'm working on my Missouri mumble here. Veterinarian, you should be able to do that. If you've got that care built with your clients, and you can communicate that, hey, you're scheduled, can I reschedule you? Even that, right? They may come to you, can reschedule, or someone else of your multi-doc practice, ideally like so-and-so is going to see you today. Your team will pitch in and take care of you so you can take care of you at the end of the day. So that's really important. That's what gratitude will create. Mm-hmm. Anything more on that? Key points there. Got to go through that. So mindset. I tell you what, that's what matters. That's the biggest part at the end of the day. We see that. It's getting people in the right mindset to make changes. And what I think, Kale, you might have said this in a podcast recently. I think you did. I think it was that you were like, doctors have a set of rules in medicine they have to go by. It's like you can only inject so much per pound of this medicine, and there's all these rules you have to work by for the animal to stay alive and have good outcomes. Now, in business, yes, there are certain rules you have to, regulation-wise, for paying taxes, city zoning, all those kinds of things, right? But what you get to do in business, and I think we're veterinarians probably have a little bit of have to have a mindset shift between being a veterinarian versus a business owner is going, actually, I get to create this culture. What do I want this culture to look like? I can choose what I want to charge. I can choose, how many exam rooms I want. I can choose these things. There's no rules around those things. So it's that mindset shift. As a veterinarian, it is a veterinary business owner, you're balancing a lot. There's no question about it. So number one, you got gratitude, right? Take care of yourself. And for the mindset to go, all right, am I thinking about this business decision as a veterinarian or as a business person? Mm-hmm. I think one of the biggest things I'm having an aha moment on that for our clients is that, and I feel like you said that.
I don't know that maybe in less words, but I have no idea. I don't recall saying it, but I
wrote it down I wrote it down of a podcast.
Thank you for giving me the credit for it. Appreciate it. I'll take it. But I agree. I mean, I think if you walk into your clinic or your business or whatever it is, and you're not happy with what it is that you see or experience or feel, and you're the owner, it's up to you. I mean, change it. Mm-hmm. It's literally up to you.
Yes.
You don't have to be open from 8 to 5. You could open the clinic at 11 and end at 3. I'm not advocating for that, but you could do that.
You could.
You can, and you could implement anything you want to do. And so I think it's just giving people the power, just because every other business is open from 8 to 5 or whatever. If that's something your team wants, you don't have to be.
Yes.
And, you don't have to pay people a certain amount. You can pay people more if you want to.
Right.
If you're profitable.
Yeah.
You can pay people whatever you want. I mean, the sky's the limit as to what you could or could not do. Mm-hmm. And so I just think it's shifting a mindset to be like, I can do what I want.
Yeah.
Does this place actually look like it?
Yes.
I had a conversation the other day I said, do you have enough money to do whatever it is that you want to do? And they were like, most of the time. And I said, the only reason it's not yes, the answer is not directly yes, is because you're choosing for it not to be.
Right.
And so,
right.
It's just the mindset that you need to have as a business owner to implement changes when things are not they're not the way you want them to be.
No, absolutely. I think that beyond those even things, to be like, do I want a lifestyle practice where I'm not concerned about having a business that's going to sell or anything too. I mean, even realizing that, you can even do that. You can even choose to do that, or you can choose to go, no, I want to have a business that has doctors, that has the ability to continue on stewardship-wise down the road. You even get to choose that. I mean, who am I to argue with somebody that's like, I really don't care about having a business, having something that can sell. I'm content doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I've got it figured out. You get to choose that. That's a business choice.
It is.
And so those two different hats, really, the veterinary business owner needs to be able to take one hat off and put another hat on. Now, you're talking about medical decisions, those things, animal care. That's always going to be the veterinary hat. But then take that off and go, how does this affect the business then? what does that mean and look like? So really understanding the shift between those hats matter. So you got to get that mindset right. And what's interesting, reason I think that's exciting about that is an AVMA survey of the industry talked about happiness in the industry, and the happiest veterinarians were ones that own the practice. Because they are independent thinking.
Yeah.
And they get to do their thing. They don't have someone telling them. We hear that Dr. Schisler will say a lot of the corporate places, they like ear cytology is the number one sale because they just prescribe the treatment. They don't work on the root of the cause. So over and over, so you're just getting told what to do, and the veterinarian there is like, I know how to do this, but the corporate's telling you, nope, we're doing business this way, and they've got their reasons, whatever, right? I don't want to knock anybody here, but you got the veterinarian go, man, I would really like to treat this, the root cause, not the symptom. So yeah, get the mindset right. It's a selling spot, and I think that, as we look at gratitude mindset, really again, what are these things important for, especially this time of year? Enjoy the holidays. I think that's one of the hard things as a business owner. Coming into holidays, number one, business is probably slowing down. Mm-hmm. Just sheer point from that, you've got less days you're open in November because of Thanksgiving, and in December, depending on if you're Jewish or Christian, you're going to have those days where you're doing less business. Just sheer number. You're not really slowing down by the day. You're slowing down because you have less days. And then you have an accountant calling you, telling you might have a tax bill due. And then you're trying to buy Christmas presents, trying to do all these things. So it can be a stressful time of the year. Mm-hmm. Just remember, though, get your mindset right to go, it's worked out every year. And you're going to be all right. And try to enjoy the holidays with people, because that's going to get you in that mindset getting to 2025. Because if we go into 2025 with a mindset that's down, you're sure going to look at these things we're talking about and go, man, that is Mount Everest. I don't even know how to tackle this, right? Mm-hmm. I don't even tackle this. What you got to look at with anything is incremental changes. So as we look at going into 2025, these things we're talking mindset-wise. It's from James Clear, Atomic Habits. If people haven't read that book, I highly recommend Atomic Habits. I think you would too.
I love James Clear. I love his newsletter too. His newsletter is awesome.
Yeah.
It really makes you ponder.
Once a week,
super short. What is it, the most wisdom per word in any newsletter or whatever his slogan is? Anyways, it's really true.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good to get into, which will help you. He talks about just you have to get 1% better every day. So really, it's not looking at the peak of Mount Everest. It's looking at what do I need to do each day to get there. And that's when people get to the top of Mount Everest, they didn't just go, hey, let's go next week. Worked on it for a long time to get there. And so that's what you look at from the business standpoint, is for a long time to work on that to get there. So I think that break it down into manageable chunks. Nacho out of Spain, my DVM there, I love he just talks about when I talk to veterinarians in the Spanish community, the Latin community, is I break it down, incremental changes. What can we do incrementally that'll get you there? So however you break that down, what makes sense to your mindset, do those things to get there. You can't, you got to eat the elephant
one bite at
a time. Yeah. Did we murder that recently or something?
I think I did say that really wrong last time. I think I do recall murdering that.
You just say have one big party and eat it at once? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Like, invite all your friends?
Yeah, everyone.
That's a resource question then, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, that what resources do you have? So as we talk about this, if you have a team, think about how you can do that as a team. Mm-hmm. I think that's important because you have resources, delegation. Involve your team in these goals, in this mindset. You all have to be on the same page, because what you were talking about, that veterinarian that's like, you have to do it this way. Well, it might be the best way to do it, but if I tell you just to do it this way, we see it around here. I mean, that's, I think, our biggest challenge in the past couple of years of Pro Partners team, which I love you guys for it, but drives me nuts, is like, I need to show this my way, prove it out, right? I can tell you how to do it, but you're like, no, I want to prove it. And like, okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure human nature is like, or the way most people that I'm aware of think is like,
Yeah.
if you tell me to do something, I immediately don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
It can be that way,
like
right?
even if I know it's right and it's good, it's like I don't want to do that because I have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Choose to do that.
Yeah. Which
So-
it's different industries, different ways, different way things work, right? If you take a retail, this is the way to do it. This is the way to fold the shirt. I don't have to explain it too much, right? Just go out there, fold the shirt, put it back on the shelf, check people out here, and go, right? But when you get into a business like this, where we're doing a lot of business systems, business support, or veterinary practice, yeah, you need to get down to understanding why. It's pretty easy to see why that shirt needs to be folded and put that way. But when we're talking about these things that you can't see that folded shirt right in front of you, you really can't get an image of what's going on. I think that's where you have to get into is creating that image and that person understand why. Mm-hmm. So that's a big deal. Get your team involved so they can understand it, work together. And sometimes, you know what? Let the team solve it. Let them solve it. And it might be different than you would solve it, but if they're excited about it and it works, do it. Mm-hmm. The best thing a business owner can do, executive can do, is let the team solve it and let them run with it. Mm-hmm. It just is.
I agree, 100%.
Trust the team. So I tell you what, that's I think some of the key things. We can keep diving. There's a lot of different ways to look at this and approach it. If you're out there wondering, maybe you left after this podcast with more questions than answers, that's great. Give us a call. Go to propartnersteam.com. Schedule a discovery meeting because we want to sit down with the business owner and see what is right for them. We want the plan that we help them put together, that we help them. Talk about delegating, you can outsource it. We can help them get to these goals, this culture, this profit, what that is, their ideal practice. And I want to say their ideal practice because we want what we do to reflect in them, right? So we have to understand them. That's what matters too, right? If it's the pro partners, just here it is, plan. No, the pro partners plan is going to be out of you, what you feel, think, and how you work in the world. So we'd be happy for you to go out to propartnersteam.com, click discovery. Even if you just are thinking about getting in business, right? You may not have a business, or you're thinking about getting out of business. We're here to work for that veterinarian that's just thinking independently, that's wanting to do something different. Let's get together and talk and help you out on that. And if we're not the right source, what's good about like a vet partners is that there might be someone else that works better for your type of practice. We're not saying we're the solution. We're saying that we're here to help, and that's a great thing. So, wonderful podcast today. I appreciate it. As we wrap up, we'll have one more podcast this year, and we're going to have an interview.
We're having an interview
to wrap up the year, so that's going to be exciting. Look forward to having that interview coming up there. And other than that, hey, as always, please like and subscribe. We really would appreciate it. It helps get the reach out there. When you like and subscribe, it's not only for you, it's for, like we said, sharing to the rest of the veterinary world. That's the way the algorithms work, right? The things that are liked more, subscribed more to, get put out there in the world. I see things that I don't want to see in my feed. It's simply because they got a ton of likes and subscribes, and they're popular. So we would be grateful for people to like and subscribe to our channel. And also go to thevetedpodcast.com, find us on our social media, ask us questions, give us feedback, give us disagreements. I'd love to hear it. Hey, if you think we've said something that doesn't make sense, maybe that person's right. We're not afraid of that kind of challenge. We want to have that kind of challenge. So thank you so much. Peace and prosperity.
Yeah, peace and blessings. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Right.
You like your peace and blessing, peace and prosperity, the same thing, right? So
Like you're encroaching on my thing.
I am for sure. Yeah, peace and prosperity.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Sure.
I screw you over on that?
That's what. All right.
We like to give each other trouble, right?
Of course.
I love you, brother.
Love you too.
Be good.